Understanding the Galactic Proxy War in Syria, an overview / where should our priorities lie now until the event by Therese Zumi Sumner. Prepareforchange.net. A very short historic overview. 25,000 years ago dark forces created quarantine Earth and took humanity hostage. They created a virtual reality control system so that nobody could escape. We have referred to this system as the Matrix, and it's still functioning to some extent, but that time is coming to an end very soon. On the surface physical plane this control has been maintained through an Orion Babylonian-type debt-based financial system, the totally corrupt banking system that increasing numbers of people are becoming aware of, and also through mass media mind programming. By this time most of you will be fully aware of the few media concerns, particularly in the USA, who control all of the media outlets. I just heard on the Swedish Morning News, December 20th, that Spanish people are now utterly sick and tired of the enormous corruption in their country, where politicians have been exposed in scandal after scandal, black money hidden in tax paradises, no real democracy as political parties have controlled the media, universities and the justice system. Sounds familiar? Over millennia the beings who control the Matrix, Archons, have created both draconian and reptilian races through genetic engineering to use them as slave warriors to expand their empire. The Archons created the Jesuit organization to maintain spiritual control over their administrators, draconian Illuminati that run the financial system, and their warriors, reptilian mercenaries that protect the Illuminati. Through Jesuit societies and 33rd degree Freemasons they have held the Illuminati structure together. This structure is now finally falling apart. Invasions of the Archons. First Kurgan invasion. There were 3 main invasions of the Archons and their subjugated races such as Draconians and Reptilians from outer space in known human history. The first one is Kurgan invasion that happened around 3600 BCE. Dark beings entered through the Caucasus dimensional portal. Their purpose was to destroy peaceful goddess-worshipping Neolithic cultures that thrived in Neolithic Europe. They wanted to destroy veneration of the goddess, since feminine energy is our direct connection to the source. The results of this invasion at this time lay the ground for the macho Western society. Second Khazar invasion. The second one is the Khazar invasion that happened around 393 AD during the last phase of the Roman Empire. Dark beings used the same Caucasus dimensional portal. Many reptilians came through this portal. They were called the barbarians. The ruler at the time was Constantine the Great, who twisted all the old wisdom. Constantine gathered all the bishops, all the military, and all of the priests. He became the ruler of the Roman Empire. He then ordered the Khazar invaders to invade the Roman Empire. He created the Catholic cult and controlled all of its priests etc., and invited the barbarian tribes to destroy the Roman Empire. The purpose of this invasion was to destroy mystery schools, Christian Gnostic groups and nature-worshipping paganism, and replace those with Christian cult mind programming. This programming was enhanced with the creation of virtual reality hells on the lower astral plane, which were then used by the Church to strengthen its position. I grew up in the very Catholic Republic of Ireland. Aged 12 I developed an interest in reading about astrological sun signs. Imagine my utter surprise one day while looking up at the very high ceiling in one part of our local church at Sunday Mass and seeing that each corner of that ceiling had sculptures of the 4 cardinal astrological signs. They're clear for all to see, were the lion, Leo, the eagle, Scorpio's higher aspect, the water-bearer, Aquarius, and the bull, Taurus. This perturbed me, as I had been told that the church utterly disliked anyone dabbling in things like astrology, playing cards etc. and other strange sign visible on the altar cloth and elsewhere, and found in every Catholic church is the Chi-Rho sign. This also made my young mind wonder, and I just figured that the P in this sign must stand for peace. Imagine my amazement when Cobra provided an aerial photograph of one of the main Chimera military bases' aircraft landing runways. He explained that this was the Chi-Rho sign of Constantine the Great. And this sign is found in every Catholic church/building/establishment worldwide. A third Archon invasion occurred in the Congo in 1996. To read more about this, go to Dark Cabal Leaders link below on my website Veritas Galactic Sweden. For the sake of clarity and new readers, it is important to point out here that today all reptilians and other dark forces have already been completely cleared from all deep underground military bases, the so-called dumps. Those bases are now empty, and their entrances sealed. On May 10 and July 15, 2012 we learned where we could find the remaining dark forces on the physical plane on the surface of planet Earth. These dark forces consist of a few dozen Archons, found mostly in Jesuit circles, a few hundred Draconians, found among Illuminati banking cartel, and in a recent Cobra interview by Rob Potter we learned that many were to be found in the Hollywood media industry, and a few thousand reptilians, found in private mercenary armies such as KBR and Academy, former Blackwater. Those beings will be removed with the coming mass arrests. So the Archons are the ones that maintain the quarantine and have kept humanity hostage so that the positive ETs could not intervene until now. 2012, they are mostly incarnated into key positions inside the Italian black nobility. The majority of these Archons have now left this planet for good. About 2,500 years ago, the Archons created a special task group and infiltrated it into the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt. This task group was responsible for mind programming and mass control of humanity through organized religions in the last 2,500 years. Anyway, this group has created the Jesuits, and Jesuits are running the show on this planet for the last 500 years, as you can read in this fairly accurate, although a little outdated report. This is how the Jesuits run the USA Corporation. Rothschilds are the bankers for the Jesuits in the last 2 centuries. The most influential are Jacob de Rothschild, Evelyn de Rothschild, David de Rothschild, and lately also Nathaniel Philip de Rothschild. The Rockefeller, Illuminati faction is a Jesuit creation of the 20th century with a purpose to hinder and misuse the technological and scientific progress of humanity. The key players of the Rockefeller, Illuminati faction are David Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, George Herbert Walker Bush, George Shurf Jr., Dick Cheney, J. Rockefeller, Donald Rumsfeld, Karl Rove, and Paul Wolfowitz. Khazarian origins. Having an understanding of the true origins of the ISIL, Islamic State mercenaries, gives the awakened reader a clearer explanation for the unbelievable heinous barbaric crimes committed by these beings. The leaders, along with a large percentage of these criminal terrorist mercenaries, are not human beings. According to my sources, guides, there are approximately 15,000 to 16,000 Draco, human hybrids on Earth at present. Among the most well-known of these are the so-called Unholy Four, namely Henry Kissinger, George Herbert Walker Bush, George Shurf Jr., Dick Cheney, and Donald Rumsfeld. Besides the Draco, human hybrids, we have the reptilian, human hybrids, which are greater in number, and these can be found in the industrial-military complex and in mercenary armies and terrorist groups like ISIL. I have provided this overview of some historic details with the purpose in mind of helping those newer readers and even us oldies to Cobra updates to have more clarity regarding some of his recent updates. Here are some recent details from his posts connected to the initial information in this article. On Monday, October 19, 2015, Cobra made a posting with the title Proxy Galactic War in Syria, and here are some of those details. Clearing of the Chimera group continues. Not much can be said about that now publicly. On the other hand, clearing of their Draco and reptilian minions is now quite intense and has already reached the awareness of the mainstream population. Here it is important to understand that Khazarians are actually Dracos who came to planet Earth in late Atlantean period through the Caucasus portal and kept reincarnating into human bodies. Caucasus portal was also the main entry point for the reptilian warrior slave caste who came to planet Earth in human bodies in Atlantean period and later during Neolithic period through the Kurgan invasion. Pleiadians and allied races were always supporting the Earth population in their fight for freedom against Chimera/Draco/reptilian suppression. Slavic people, especially Russians, were usually quite open to Pleiadian guidance and support. Kievan Rus, under the military command of Sviatoslav I of Kiev, have destroyed the Khazarian state around the year 965, that was the beginning of the long animosity between the Khazarians and Russians. Since then, Khazarians were without their original homeland and have lost control of the Caucasus portal. Pleiadians and allied races are now backing up Putin in his mission to clear Syria of the Islamic State mercenaries. Those beings actually belong to the reptilian warrior caste which came to planet Earth thousands of years ago through the Caucasus portal and kept reincarnating in human bodies. Many Pleiadian hostages have been rescued lately from Syria by Russian Spetsnaz agents, with those agents thinking they are just rescuing human prisoners of war from Syrian prisons. Top intelligence personnel within GRU is aware of the extraterrestrial element of the Syrian situation. The Chimera wants to retake the Caucasus portal, and this is the occult reason for the involvement of the Chechen forces in the Syrian situation. Chechnya. Let me just say that Grozny, the capital of Chechnya, is a major negative vortex in the energy grid of the planet that needs a lot of healing and is connected to Odessa and Ukraine, another negative vortex, a stronghold of the Khazarians. The situation in Syria is the geopolitical turning point for the planetary liberation. Iranian military is proudly showing their underground military bases. While on the opposite side, Saudi Khazarians are on the run. Far away from the attention of the mainstream media, masses in Europe are beginning to rise in their fight for freedom. 1 week ago we were given a new update. Sunday, December 13, 2015 Solar System. Planetary Situation Update. Cobra provided us with details about numerous physical chimera bases positioned inside the Kuiper belt and formed the so-called Kuiper ring. He said that, clearing of the chimera group continues. The outer line of defense which protects the chimera-controlled territories inside this solar system against the liberation forces of the Galactic Confederation and the Astra Command. Operations to remove the Kuiper ring of chimera bases will start very soon. I will report about this as much as it will be strategically wise. Let not the number of those bases discourage you. The plan to remove them is very solid and the situation will be dealt with efficiently. He further reported in that update that Archon/Jesuit/Khazarian forces are putting all their efforts into maintaining their entropy machine by suppressing free energy to be able to keep their oil-based economy running, destroying countries, Syria, to be able to seize their oil, suppressing goddess vortexes to prevent spiritual awakening, Syria again, and by preventing mass awakening by withholding disclosure. They fail to understand that their entropy machine obeys the laws of semi-iterative inequations and will be dissolved with mathematical certainty. Yesterday we had a new update from Cobra to inform us that the removal of the Kuiper belt bases has begun. Solar System Situation Update Sunday, December 20, 2015. Clearing of the Chimera group continues. The light forces have started to clear the Chimera bases of the Kuiper ring and are thus beginning to disintegrate the main defense line of the Chimera which previously prevented the light forces from taking full control of the outer solar system. There will be drastic changes in the outer solar system from now on until early January next year. It is not a coincidence that astrologically speaking, this will be a time frame of great progress. He further reminded us that the news about the Kuiper bases was also new to him and that this is not a big setback and operations of the light forces are progressing nicely. I would also suggest you not to wait passively for the event, not to make your life dependent on it, but to work actively towards the planetary liberation. To refresh your memory, here are some things you can do when the event comes. Where are our priorities lying now until the event? I have asked Archangel Michael if he has some advice to give us at this time. He reminds us that this is definitely not the time to allow ourselves to be upset by any attempts to take away the focus of our goal. The best way to do this is by remaining impartial and being close to our heart and keeping a strong daily contact with Source. When we handle ourselves with propriety, we will always be supported by the celestial beings that are working so closely with us at this time. We should not allow ourselves to be waylaid. We truly need to be flexible and if necessary we should retreat from danger. We should not allow others whose aim is to divide and conquer us say in our affairs at all. We are right now developing a firm base to stand on in readiness for total change. Right now dedicated light workers are putting the final details to audio versions of the event meditation, a revision of the weekly liberation meditation, and audio versions are being created for those who like to listen and be led through the meditation in as many languages as possible. Cobra has suggested that at the right moment in time a request will go out to all of the major peace meditation groups on the planet so that they can choose to align themselves with us in creating the perfect energy for the event. Michael points out that we might feel right now as if we are a horse tethered to a pole and that we are at a kind of a standstill and that we are totally subordinate to chaotic situations worldwide. We are in the final days of the final galactic war on this planet. We are the very last planet to be liberated. This is the time of pre-event tension, and as soon as the united forces of light have succeeded in removing the dangers of any exotic weaponry, we will be ready for this change and Source will send out that signal to start the process. We are now fully aware that many mistakes that were made on this planet need to be rectified. We must be aware now that when the event is upon us that we will need to proceed with great sensitivity in moving forward. The shock is going to be great to the vast majority of people and there will be need of a time of healing. Change will come very quickly, but Divine Mother has suggested that we stop and smell the roses and not be so over-enthusiastic that we finish projects and then discover that there was an even better way to create whatever. Healing is a first priority and time for socializing with friends and loved ones, and the healing of old wounds is equally as important as rebuilding Nova Gaia. The key word is harmonize. When the day arrives we will all be so overwhelmed with love and relief, and so maybe this reminder can help you in visualizing the joyful celebrations of being able to unite with loved ones and friends without any stress regarding time any longer. We will have all the time in the world that we need and no longer anything of great concern or worry or burden us. Let's all stay centered and ready. Both Otwine and Cobra recently reminded us that we will have a full moon at 11:11 a.m. on the 25th December for the first time in 38 years. This marks the time of the return of the light here in the Northern Hemisphere after a few days at its lowest since yesterday the 21st. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all of the PFC readers a relaxing peaceful time over the holidays leading up to 2016. Something tells me that it will be a year in the history of our planet that we shall never forget. P.S. Much of the information on this page has been taken from a page on my website entitled Dark Cabal Rulers. There you can find many articles about the Archons, the Chimera and the Jesuits. The link to that page can be found below the video. Victory to the light.